All right. Hello and good morning. Keller Williams, Greater Metropolitan. Very excited to have you all with us this morning. We have a great meeting on deck as we hit the middle of the month here on June 15th. So, welcome to today's meeting. As we like to do, I want to start off with a little bit of a conversation um, around the uh, mission, vision, values, belief, and perspective of our organization, Keller Williams, and Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. And so these are the beliefs of our company. And I want to highlight a couple of them today. One is your first of the T's. So these are called the Y4C 2T's because WI, 4C's, 2T, an E, and an S. So the first one I want to talk about is teamwork. I thought about this one yesterday. So the teamwork together, everyone achieves more. And Nancy Emmerman had brought a friend in the office that she was going to convince to become a realtor. As if you are Nancy's friend, she is going to convince you to become a realtor. And as we were talking about our company in relation to others, it stood out that one of the biggest difference makers in our company is our culture. That's what that individual had called out, and specifically around the way we talk about supporting one another and the open and abundant mindset that our agents have. So, that shows up a lot of places for us as a company and is a big part of what we communicate to the rest of the world about who we are and how we do it. And, kind of building off of that, last year we added to our beliefs with the addition of equity opportunities for all. And so today, a little later on, we're gonna hear about a piece of our United States history and a little bit about what that means to our agents and our communities today, and do a little education for everyone as it relates to that value of equity. And so we will get to that in just a bit. But in the meantime, we have, as always, we'll invite you to drop your listings or your buyer needs into the chat box, as well as whenever we post on Thursdays at 9 a.m., definitely load up that thread. That is becoming a great destination for all things going on in the market and all opportunities for our agents to connect and find listings, find buyers, and find opportunities to do more business. So let's dive into some of our celebrations from the month of May. As this is our second meeting in the month, we are getting into, or we want to take a look back at everyone who had some big wins in the month of May. And all of these individuals had their first closings. Chris Marker's so busy out there getting his second closing immediately after his first that we could not get him to sit still for a picture. But what's really cool is all of these individuals put together with their first deals well over $1 million in closed business as new agents. And let's dive into our top closings for the month. Congratulations to all these individuals. If you don't know this about me, you will now. I'm a little bit of a data nut and a little bit of a nerd. And, so it occurred to me that I see Carol Joyner's face on this slide every month. So I took a look. Carol has closed 30 units year to date, including 6 in the month of May. And so for those of you playing along at home, that is more than one a week. And she is an individual agent and has a fantastic business. So, showing up here once is an accomplishment. Showing up here every month is huge. And on to our top teams. Now, there's a lot of things to be happy about with what's going on here, but most importantly, when the Michael Thomas team is amongst our top teams, we get to see Peanut on the slides, which we love. And so thank you for all the hard work you do that puts that beautiful pooch right in our face. And then from the standpoint of our top groups, some monster months from here. It is definitely a busy season as we see the performance of all of these folks. And going back to that value or that belief of teamwork, what we are so excited about as a company, and I think what helps all of us grow from top to bottom, is that these teams, the agents on these teams, they do a ton of business, right? These are well-oiled machines, and they still will find time to be a part of our sales meetings, be a part of our trainings, go sit at the front of the room and provide that training. And so we benefit tremendously from that. And in case you missed it, we won listings big in May. As a company, we outpaced the market by more than 10%, right? So listings were up in May in the high single digits for the market, and they were up almost 20% for our company. We are continuing that strong performance through the month of June, and that's led from the front by all of these individuals. Big shout out to Art Obleton, who took 8 listings in the month of May. 8 listings in the month of May, and Art had only taken 12 in all of 2020. So huge growth there. And then on to our top teams. Congratulations to the Distinct Home Group, who took 13 listings in May. And 13 is a very big number. And speaking of very big numbers, the Young team with 50 listings in the month of May. Very, very outstanding performance there. The Immerman team, I believe the Chase Group and the Immerman team both with 11 as well. So some really, really outstanding performances from top to bottom for our organization. All right, let's get into what is going on with our training. So today, at the top of the hour, we are going to hear from some really awesome agents about their top takeaways from Jeff Glover's event last week that was all focused on listings. This market is all about listings. So we want to make sure that you get all the information you need to succeed in the current market. Next week, Matt Chase and myself will be leading a conversation about wealth building and focusing on your 5 sources of wealth. We've heard from agents that, this is a concept thrown around. We hear Gary talk about it. We hear him talk about this idea of you can be anywhere you want in 5 years. And so we want to really explore, what does that look like? What is the sequence of events? How do we get our mindset right? And how do we take advantage of the opportunities that are afforded to us, not only as real estate agents, but as real estate agents at Keller Williams, and even more specifically at Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. And then finally, we'll round out the month with our Market Center update. We'll hear from everybody on the staff, everybody on the leadership team, a couple of ALC members, and bring you great updates on everything that we've got going on. And then just go ahead and strike July 5th off your calendar. Given the holiday and all the travel we know that's going on, we will not have a sales meeting on that Tuesday. All right, continuing this week is Your First Deal. That's taking place on Thursday afternoon. And if you have not haven't been a part of one before, haven't done a deal, this is a great place to go and be educated, right? One of the most important things we can do is be smarter and more well educated than our clients, and this is a great opportunity to do it. So that continues this week on Thursday. And of course, as always, if you happen to miss a training or an opportunity, everything goes up on our YouTube page. If you have a great or you really enjoyed something, you want to rewatch, you want to rewind and hear that great joke that I told at the beginning about Chris Marker's picture, like, that's perfectly fine. We can do that. All of that content is available online every week. All right, so you remember this from last week. This is the awesome graphic that I created that I'm not allowed to share anymore. So as we talk about getting together, having fun, teamwork, all that, we have some really, really awesome events, 2 of them coming up end of June, beginning of July. We are back, right? The world is by and large coming back in person. We'll still be Zooming a lot, I'm sure, but we realize that there are so many individuals who have chosen Keller Williams as a place to do business, who have decided to start their careers here, move their careers here. And we wanted to take advantage of the opportunity here at the end of the month just to get everybody together. So the initial response from all of you has been a lot of excitement. So if you're sitting on the fence and you're like, I don't know, I don't know if I want to actually meet people and make friends and rub elbows with the people that I'm going to be doing deals with, think again. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss it. And, make no mistake, you are welcome on both sides of town both days, right? So please, if you call the East Side home and you want to pop in and meet the West Side folks and West Siders, if you want to make your way all the way over here to Pepper Pike, then please do that. It's a great opportunity. It's one of the big advantages of this institution is that we have the opportunity to put both sides of town under one roof, so to speak. And so I'm very excited about that. Don't miss it. Mark your calendars. Food and drink provided to you. See you there. All right, summer mastermind. So in the middle of the year, into May, June, July, beginning of August, you guys know better than anybody just how crazy the market is. And so what we as a leadership team have heard from you is like, wow, these are a lot of great training opportunities. There's a lot of great things on the calendar, and yet it's really challenging to make them all priorities. And so as a leadership team led by Danielle Sullivan, we identified an opportunity to bring together an event called the Summer Masterminds. And so what this will be is a one-day event in the middle of July, on July 15th, where you'll have the opportunity to engage in a few different training sessions throughout the day. So we are hosting this at Mayfield Country Club, and it is going to be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Is that right, Danielle? Just a head nod if I got that right.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, great. And so the way that the day will unfold is we will have 3 distinct breakout time periods over that 3-hour period, where you will get to choose from a number of different trainings in each time slot. And so when you show up, you may pop into the wealth building and real estate session with these amazing individuals leading that panel. And then the next time around, you'll pop into breaking into luxury, right? And so as you look at what's on here, it's not an all or nothing experience. We'll have 3 separate breakout sessions, and then there will be opportunities between those to huddle up, do a quick mastermind with your team, hear from vendors, whatever it is. There will be that opportunity. So it's going to be a nice, fun, big day. And we have, as I said, just an absolutely tremendous panel. And so addressing all of those really important topics and issues that are facing agents right now and that will come up throughout the fall. And we're very excited as well to have our #1 agent, Ryan Young, in for 2 separate breakouts. So don't worry if you won't have to choose him against anything else, but it'll be a great opportunity as he talks about his business and specifically the listing side of his business that has allowed him last year to sell over $125 million in real estate. And this year, as of the end of May, 5 months into the year, he was already over $60 million in volume. And so that business continues to grow. And I'm sure that he's going to tell us that it grows because of the listings and the focus on listings. So real quick, in the month of June, as in every month, we have 2 career nights per month. We have our next one coming up, 5:30 p.m., both sides of town and on Zoom. So in the Rocky River office and in the Pepper Pike office and in the virtual office, you'll have the opportunity to let folks know about this, and they can learn more about a career in real estate, Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. But a big thank you to everybody. Every single time we do one of these, half the room, if not more, is referrals from agents in our office, and we cannot tell you how much we appreciate that. And it's really, really strong in supporting the growth of our company, but also the growth of our culture, because we know you are sending some of the nearest and dearest and best people in your lives to come take advantage of this company. And then finally, as we wrap up what's going on here locally, we have been getting a lot of fantastic and very helpful responses from our survey. So please, if you have not had the opportunity to fill that out, we're going to drop that in the chat box. Make sure you let us know, hey, this is the training I'd like to see. Hey, this is where I feel like, the leadership team has an opportunity to do more. We absolutely love the feedback, and it's going to help us continue to grow at what is a breakneck pace as a company. All right, few updates from KWRI. We have this afternoon at 1 p.m. a very cool event that they didn't do a graphic for, so I had to screenshot a website. They being KWRI, right? KWRI does not produce the graphic for this, but the at 1 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time, some of the top agents in our industry are going to be talking about specific tactics to thrive in today's market, and it is going to be focused on lead generation. And we know that whomever controls the leads controls the business. And so as much as we can do to fill that funnel and take advantage of the opportunity that's there. Brian Gubernick is in Gary's top 100. He is an OP, an expansion guy. He runs a coaching program called Metrics. He is incredibly smart, incredibly talented, very strong systems. That'll be from 1 to 3 p.m. today. All you have to do is log on to kwconnect.com. Log in, and it will live stream from that site. And there are 2 live streams a day, every day, from Keller Williams Realty International. And so that will be, that's a great opportunity. If you are sitting here saying, boy, I wish I had more leads in my business, that's the way. And then, guys, if you have not signed up for the alerts and announcements around Mega Camp, please do it. A month ago, this was going to be 2,000 people, limited to only agents in the top 2,000, limited only to maybe people who had been most tenured with the company. What we can tell you is that the changes around regulations and the pandemic are changing and evolving on a daily basis. So what a month ago was no more than 2,000 or 2,500 people can be at an event in Austin, Texas, will be changing. It might not be the 22,000 people that are, that typically show up to Mega Camp, but there will be opportunities. So keep your ear to the ground on that. And certainly as we learn anything, we will let you know. And we will be supporting the virtual experience and the physical experience here in Northeast Ohio as a company, as we have for the last couple major events. So now at this point, I would like to, if we could please spotlight or unmute Miss Lisa Gaines. You all may have caught in an email, one of Julia's biweekly updates, that our office will be closed for Juneteenth. It'll be observed on this Friday, so the office will be closed. The Juneteenth date is actually this coming Saturday. And as a part of everything that we experienced as a world in the last 15 months, we talked a little bit about the addition of equity as a value, or belief, for our company, and some of the things that our organization, both locally and internationally, has done to make sure that we are being representative and inclusive of our entire population. And one of those things is to recognize this day as an official holiday for Keller Williams Realty International and here locally at Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. So, I know, myself, Lisa, you and I were talking about this last night. It wasn't but 12 months ago that I learned what Juneteenth was, and we thought it would be good to just chat a little bit about what exactly it is, why it is, what it represents. And so, Lisa, as a member of our Agent Leadership Council and one of our founding members of the Keller Williams Black Realtor Network, really appreciate you being a voice here to talk us through what's going on.
Hey, everybody. I hope this message is finding you guys well. I'm hoping also to get some visuals through Mike. Mike is going to help me maybe with some visuals on this, but I want to talk a little bit about Juneteenth, otherwise known as Jubilee Day, as Freedom Day, as Liberation Day, as Emancipation Day. And you might be going, Lisa, what is Juneteenth? Juneteenth is a holiday that has been celebrated many years by African Americans, but it commemorates the day that formerly enslaved people or people who were enslaved were given their freedom. And that didn't happen on Emancipation Proclamation Day when our President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, because not everybody got that message. Wow, how about that? So there were people 2 years later who were still serving as enslaved people down in Texas. So they were emancipated by a Union general who went down to Texas and made the proclamation and freed those slaves, the people who were formerly enslaved down in Texas, so that they could also have their freedom. Next slide, Mike. So, you know, in this country, we celebrate July 4th as the independence that we signed from the British rule. However, this did not apply to African Americans. Let that sink in. That did not apply to African Americans. So Juneteenth is the day that African Americans actually had to create to celebrate their freedom here in the United States from being enslaved people 90 years later. How about that? So, Mike, do you think we can do the TikTok video?
I'm gonna try. All right. So if this goes wrong, nobody blame Lisa, blame me, because I'm not sure if I can pull this off. Can we? Is that on your screen now?
It's on the screen, and now you just have to press play.
Well, now I'm going to make sure the sound goes through as well. Hold on, one more thing. There's a thing I can check to optimize for video. So let's see if this works.
Happy Juneteenth. What? What do you mean? You say you don't know about Juneteenth? Well, allow me to educate you. So approximately 2 years after Lincoln signed this little document right here, the Battle of Palmito Ranch, May 12, 1865 was fought and won by Union forces. Now pause. I know what you're thinking.
Langston, if the last battle of the Civil War was fought in May, why do we celebrate in June?
Well, my friend, that is because plantation owners wanted one last harvest out of enslaved peoples. Until General Ranger Gordon showed up in Galveston, Texas. I was saying that 5 times fast. With 2,000 troops and declared all enslaved black peoples free. Since that day, 155 years ago, the descendants of these enslaved people have eaten things to celebrate, such as red velvet cake, watermelon, strawberry pie, crimson hot links, and so much more. The red coloration that they have in common symbolizes the blood of our ancestors that was spilled, yet the resilience that they have. So during this Juneteenth, when somebody asks why we celebrate and what it's about, you let them know.
All right.
All right.
I think I did it.
So, you know, I believe that, you know, presentations have got to be fun and entertaining and informative. So that was my son, who is majoring in Africana Studies in college. I asked him to, and also Film Studies. So he created that for us to kind of give us a general overview about Juneteenth, but also you're going to see in our KWGM groups, I'm going to drop in a calendar of local Juneteenth celebrations that are going on here in the area that you can attend and possibly participate in for this particular celebration. But our company is going to be observing Juneteenth. Keller Williams International is going to be observing Juneteenth throughout the entire company. So this is a really big thing and a really good acknowledgement to have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for your leadership and your contribution. And I did not realize, did you say that was your son on the TikTok?
That was my son.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Well, that's so cool. I now feel even better that I didn't screw that up trying to get it to play. So listen, thank you so much. And guys, just to be clear, the office is closed on Friday. The Cuyahoga County Auditor's Office is also closed, so nothing will file, no checks will be processed. If that is going to be a major pain point for you in one way or another, please reach out to a member of the staff and we'll work to alleviate any stress or strain ahead of time. But Lisa, thank you again so much for your contribution and for your education of our agents. All right, guys, now we're going to dive into updates from our partners. I will now stop the share and we will pin Mr. Don Jarecki to the screen, talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of mortgage. Don, are you here? Maybe Don's not here.
I don't see him on mic.
Okay, I know Sean emailed me. I thought maybe Don was backfilling, but that's okay. Must have had a little bit too much fun at the golf outing yesterday that Cross Country Mortgage had. So we're gonna kick it directly over to Jess Ivins because she's the next person that I see. And so Jess, if you could let us know what's going on with property management. Another strong month for you guys, halfway through here. So what's going on?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So I know, Mike, today your focus was listings. So I just wanted to send a reminder that we have a lot of properties that are still available for rent all over Cleveland. We have Parma, we have Cleveland Heights, we have the city of Cleveland, Lakewood. So if your clients need some temporary housing because they want to wait things out for another year or so, or if they can't find anything, definitely take a look at our website. I'll put the link in our chat box and you can check out our vacancies to see what we have available. So definitely please use us as a resource for that.
I love that. I love that. So when you get the objection that is, yes, I could sell for more money, than I ever could in the history of my life and maybe any time in the future. But where will I go? You can say we have one of the largest property management companies in Northeast Ohio with listings available. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Jess. And we look forward to seeing you and hearing from you tomorrow during our investor mastermind in Rocky River.
Yes, I'll be there.
We love that. All right. And then I believe I saw Miss Gina Legeza from America's Preferred Home Warranty. Gina, hello. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Michael. I'm doing great. Good to be here. You know, when I think about listing, how important it is to list with a home warranty, we had a couple clients call yesterday from our office, our agents, our Rockstar agents, I should say, and we didn't have some of the correct protection, and there was some learning to be had with it. So I just wanted to go over briefly why it's so important to list with a home warranty, especially in this market right now. Number one, we're providing legal coverage for your seller agents, and it's called List Secure. And what that is, 2 years post-sale, if there's any post-sale disputes, we will give $1,000 to your seller for any attorney that they choose. This is huge, especially in this world right now where we're seeing so many legal cases. Additionally, when you list with a home warranty, you get complimentary coverage, such as ductwork, plumbing, electrical, and hot water tank. It's very important to always, when you list with a home warranty, make sure that you have our seller upgrade. Our seller upgrade provides coverage such as heating and cooling and appliance as part of the listing. If you don't have that, you won't have that coverage. So super important. Here's another big why. We always talk about Gary Keller's why, Michael. A big why is, let's say a buyer comes onto the scene and does a home inspection and detects things. This is mind blowing, but the seller can actually open claims. I mean, that's a huge reason why to list with a home warranty. The seller can actually open claims after the fact, and they have up to $1,000 during the listing period. So extremely important as things are being used more than ever in this market. People are still working from home to list with a home warranty. Thank you.
Love
guys.
that. And
Yeah.
that List Secure piece, is there a place that we can direct people to better understand what that means for them and their seller? Just, you called out the world is not getting less litigious. No offense to anybody with a legal degree or that has a spouse that's a lawyer, but It's just the world, it's the world that we're living in right now. And so to better understand protections that are available, should something not go according to plan, that would be awesome if there's a website, a flyer, a link, or, you know, or some such thing that we can.
We have a flyer, and
Yeah.
I will make sure it's available to our leadership staff, and just
Yeah.
make sure that everybody's aware of it. And they can actually present that in their listing packet when they're going on a listing appointment.
Absolutely. We love that. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Gina. Appreciate
you.
that.
Have a great day. Thank
All right. And then I believe I saw Tiffany and or Jade from Greater Metropolitan Escrow, Title and Escrow.
Good morning,
We are.
everyone.
Good morning, Jade. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I am going to kick it off today, and I am going to talk about any clients who are out of the country. You know, we are always trying to keep things as convenient as possible, always utilizing all the technology that we have. And if a seller is out of the country, we are now starting to do the remote online notarization. We do utilize a company who keeps Virginia notaries on hand. The cool thing with Virginia notaries is they can notarize in any state. Typically, if you have your notary license, you could only notarize in the state that you have that license. But because Virginia is kind of a different state, they can notarize all 50 states. So they have a staff of Virginia notaries on hand for us to use. So if your seller is out of the country, and in the past, what they'd have to do is they would have to make an appointment at the consulate. And that is very time consuming, and it takes a very long time. So we came up with this method. The only thing that catch with this is if there is a lender involved, we do need a lender approval that they are allowed to use remote online notarization, even if it is for the sellers. So just keep that in mind. And then I believe Tiffany wanted to talk about FIRPTA.
Yeah. So just a quick addition to what Jade said. So depending on where the seller is, if they are a citizen and in a country that's part of the Hague Convention, they also have the ability to sign with an attorney in that state and or country. It becomes a little more complicated because typically the document does have to be translated, which we do have a translation service available to us. And we would typically cover that cost if it's just for the deed. Additionally, there's an apostille that has to be attached, and this is usually not in English. So then we also have to have that translated. So as you can imagine, it's a cumbersome process. It's definitely a little easier than driving to who knows where to get to the consulate, and getting an appointment with COVID makes it a lot more difficult. So they can utilize an attorney if the services are available near them, but the remote online notarization is really the best way to go. We had one recently in Turkey that went really well. And we have one coming up next week in France, I believe. So it's going really, really good. It's a great process. Additionally to that, I wanted to talk about FIRPTA. If anyone has ever had a foreign seller, I'm sure that this has come up in the past for you. Essentially what it is, it's a tax for foreign sellers that are selling property, real property here in the US. And if the buyer who's purchasing the property is one, not going to inhabit the home, and the purchase price is under 300,000. So it has to be both of those things. They're not going to live in the home and the purchase price is under 300,000. Then FIRPTA does apply. We take anywhere from 10 to 15% of the seller's proceeds. We give a check to the buyer payable to the Treasury, and they need to give that, and along with a form, and they need to give that to their accountant or tax preparer that year when they are doing their taxes, because the IRS is going to tax the seller, but it's required that the buyer actually facilitate the payment of that tax. Don't ask me why, it makes no sense, but essentially the buyer's the one who has a kind of skin in the game. And so I think the IRS feels like, well, if we make the buyer responsible, then it will definitely get paid. If we make the seller responsible, who knows? Mm-hmm. So there's that. So if I would say, just long story short, if you have a seller who is foreign, is not a US citizen, it's no problem. We can do a closing for them anytime. Just let us know up front. And if you know your customer is going to be out of the country for the signing, let us know that as well. The sooner we can get all of this arranged, the better. The last thing we want to do is delay a signing or a closing. And then if I could, I wanted to give Gina from America's Preferred a home warranty a shout out. I actually switched to America's Preferred for my home and a couple of our rental properties and had a claim on our personal home, and she was beyond helpful. I wanted to support other partners within the brokerage, and I was beyond impressed. So I just wanted to thank Gina because she was super helpful. And now my family is cool in our home. We're not sweating all day, and especially with last week. I'm so grateful. So thank you, Gina.
That is awesome. And thank you very much for the explanation on how to work with foreign buyers and sellers. Really appreciate that, guys. If you run into anybody who is dealing with anybody out of country or even out of state, now that we know Virginia notaries can do it anywhere, thank you very much for that information. That should help us get through any objections or concerns or snags when we choose the right title company to work with. So thank you guys so much. And now we're gonna dive into our recap of Jeff Glover's 21 ways to take 21 listings. So if Danielle, you could help me by pinning Mr. John J, Mr. John Murchison, Mr. John Longo, just kidding, Jeff Longo, and Lindsay Podizak. These are going to be our, this is going to be our squad today. And guys, first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to serve on this panel and share your takeaways from Jeff's session. I want to really quickly just let everybody on the call know about the individuals that we're going to be hearing from today. And, you know, as a group, you know, John's on the Chase team, Jeff, Lindsay, and John are all individual agents. But if you took the folks on your screen right now, they would be the number 12 team in our office. Their volume in the rolling 12 months is over $14 million as a group. And so they are an incredibly talented bunch, and we can't wait to hear what they took away from Jeff Glover. Look, real quick, guys, I know we throw around Jeff Glover, and if you've been in the industry, you know him. But for those of you who don't, Jeff's a team owner. He also owns franchises, Keller Williams franchises, Keller Williams agent in Detroit, who sells over 1,000 units a year through his team, and somewhere between 80 and 100 himself each year. And his team is crushing it in listings right now. And so Jeff is on tour sharing everything that they actually do. What makes Jeff great as a presenter is he's from a market that we can all relate to in Detroit. And we've got a much better football team now. So the opportunity to relate is quickly unwinding. And then we also, you know, Jeff is also boots on the ground. He's doing the things that he teaches. And so the opportunity to learn from him is always great. So I'll just open it up. Biggest takeaway, let's go with, let's start with you, John J, since you're already unmuted. What was your biggest aha throughout the morning there? Like, what did you write down, you know, and circle a few times?
It just comes down to it. I mean, this is my third Jeff Glover event I've been to. And yeah, while everyone says kind of all the same, you take away something different every single time. And my biggest takeaway is just do it. I mean, we're our biggest worst enemies when we have like reluctance to do things, but just get on the ground and whatever. Our biggest thing is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So, I mean, if you do everything, you know, you're gonna get half the results that you want. So when you actually go on and make 150, 200 calls a day, the results start showing up.
Yeah, right. I think it's in Jeff's, one of Jeff's principles is that real estate's a contact sport, right? You know, the come list me calls are always great, but it's not a way to build a business, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What about you, Jeff Longo?
So yeah, I've seen Jeff a few times, and John, like you said, some of it's kind of repetitive, but I think that's a tribute to his belief that there's really not like a secret formula. It's just doing the same 4 or 5 or 6 activities that you're supposed to do to get to, you know, where he is lofty, but where you want to be, I guess, is where is what's important. But you know, the biggest takeaway for me is I'm pretty big on database. So when he talked about getting listings from your database, and he kind of broke it down, and I kind of looked at that as you know, if you're using command, then the way he broke it down is how you can essentially organize your database and tag people that are in there. So for instance, he said, you know, number one was SOI and past client database. So obviously organize them and attack them for listings. He has what he calls an exchange database, which is people that you have exchanges with, that you know well enough to at least talk to put into your database. You know, there's a lot of variations of that. I actually call mine my people farm, but it's the same principle, that you just kind of people that aren't necessarily like in your tight circle that you haven't worked with, but people that you can poach for business. And then obviously you talked about social media as well. So I guess my social media being also a database, is that using those people to you know to track and you know, get business from. So there's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah, the big takeaway, I agree with you, is this exchange database, right? Like we are all meeting people every single day. Where are we putting them to be in a position to build a relationship with them virtually, through their inbox, through their text messages, or whatever it is that we want to do, such that we're not just waiting for people to bump into people that need us that day. And so that was a big takeaway, because if you don't have a place for that, right, when they have a need and you're not there, or they don't know you, they won't choose you, right? That's great. And then John Murchison, I saw you nodding your head with the exchange database. Was that a good takeaway for you, or was there anything else that stood out to you?
Well, that was just one of like 1,000, it seemed like, but yeah, that was a great takeaway for me. One thing I would say overall, what stood out the most to me was, as a whole, was the creativity behind what he does, and coming up with different ways to actually create business for himself. You know, with us being licensed and everything, it was one thing that was written on the wall, which said, what we do determines our success and not the market. You know, and as licensed agent, we constantly have to figure out ways to keep ourselves in front of people and different things. And just for him to come up with, I think I had about 26, 27 different points that he actually touched on to create business. That's what stood out to me, was that you have to be creative in some kind of way to be able to actually drum up business. And he's done a phenomenal job at doing that.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, look, that's one of our beliefs as well, right? Ideas before results. And, you know, when you step back, and I know it's hard to do right now in the business, but when you step back and say, there's a ton of real estate transactions happening right now, right? We are selling more houses than we sold last year, and that was more than the year before, and more before the year before that. So how are these people choosing their realtor? What is driving them to transact or to choose one over the other? And I think the opportunity there is that, you know, there's not one answer, there's not one thing, but it's what we do consistently, right, that determines our outcome. And if you can make it fun and creative, well, then you're going to be all the more likely to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Lindsay, bring us home here. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
Terrific. What were your takeaways from Jeff?
So one of the first things he opened with was when he said, you know, I want everyone to write this down. And he said, the path of most resistance leads down the path to most freedoms. And I think that opening with that, you know, it definitely resonates into a lot of the points that he made. And one of the big takeaways that I had that kind of, you know, followed up with that was when he talked about, you know, in this market right now, I mean, obviously we're all about listings, but I mean, we all have buyers that we're working with, and, you know, this market is extremely competitive, and we all have buyers that we are missing out on houses, and it's tough. So one of the things that he had talked about was door knocking, which, you know, first he said filling your seller funnel. But one of the pieces of that was door knocking. And, you know, it's kind of twofold because it's a win-win essentially, that he kind of took it a step further, I think, than what some of us maybe would normally do with door knocking. And, you know, taking that rejected offer from your buyer and, you know, showing it to them. Because I think it's definitely more, you know, realistic and actually real to the person that's answering the door. If you show them, hey, I have this offer here that, you know, my buyer really wanted this house, loves the street. I mean, I have a client right now that literally wants to move on one specific street. And I mean, we all know the odds of that in the market right now. So, you know, taking that offer and showing them, hey, you know, I have a hot buyer right now. They're willing to spend X amount of dollars. You know, do you know of anyone on the street in this area that's willing to take advantage of the hot market? And, you know, you maybe, you know, pick up a seller or also, you know, can possibly find a house for your buyer. So, you know, you're filling your database, you're, you know, making a connection, possibly getting a listing, and hopefully also finding a house for your buyer. I think has a lot of one simple activity, I think, can, you know, fill a lot of things for your business. So.
Yeah, there's the old school open house strategy, right? Which is the 10-10-20, right? 10 houses on one side, 10 houses on the other, 20 across the street. And that's, you know, a good door knocking strategy. But to take the physical contract that, you know, hey, we offered $375,000 or $175,000 for this property, couldn't get it. Who do you know? Who on the block, right? It would be willing to take this. I think that it makes it real. And, you know, one of the things that it does is it educates very quickly the person on the other side, right? Because everything that they're going to hear all the time, even if they're hearing anything about real estate, is the market's so hot, but they can't contextualize it, right? That contract in hand that says, like, they can put your address at the top and sign it and we'll go, right? I mean, that is such you know, and it might feel aggressive, but guys, right, is this market not aggressive?
Yeah, and I think also, you know, he talked about that, even to say, you know, okay, well, if you don't know anybody, then, you know, how would you feel, you know, can I send you some market updates just so you can kind of, you know, see what's going on out there to make sure that they are staying educated. And I think that's huge.
Yeah,
building the seller funnel for sure.
So let's do another one around the horn here. What's the, you know, to start with you, John Jay, what's the immediate change to your, you know, your business, your daily habits? You know, your takeaway was that you just got to do it, but what's different? You know, what's going to be different for John Jay's routine or the work that he does this Thursday versus last Thursday?
Definitely getting up earlier in the morning, getting up at, like, you know, like you said, dominate the morning, win the day.
Yep.
Yeah, working out, getting in that mindset, you know, listen to Ben Kinney podcast a lot, and to be in the mindset to just start crushing it by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I'm ready to make the calls and, you know, just ready to go. Take care of all the other stuff that could wait till after making calls and prospecting, and just set more appointments.
That's right. Now, are you targeting the one appointment a day?
At least, yeah. I mean, at least showing 2 different buyers, like, at least every day until we find something. And like you said, if you find that off-market listing for your buyer, you're going to get a client for life out of that. They're going to refer you everyone that they know too, because no other agent's going to, you know, that aggressive door knocking and doing what we do to, you know, find them a house.
That's right. I think there's a tremendous opportunity in challenging markets when we can help people. And, you know, look at all the top performers in our company. Look at all the top performers in this region, and most of them cut their teeth or started to have big builds in their business in the last really difficult that we had, which was 9, 10, 11. And so when you think about, you know, we are all currently in a place where it's a very difficult market. We create clients for life. We create epic referral networks when we win the day. And so that's a huge takeaway, John. Jeff Longo, what are you doing differently starting last Friday? You got to unmute. The suspense is killing me.
Oh, geez. So I've been to a lot of these, and I try not to take away. I mean, I write a lot of stuff down, but I try to just like start like 1 or 2 things so you don't get overwhelmed by trying to implement 100 things at one time. So, you know, he said, fill your fill your seller funnel by a good daily habit is adding one person to your, what he calls his exchange database, one person per day. So I try to focus on like, who can I add and how can I add that per, like at least one person per day. So.
Love that. One person a day gets you 30 a month, gets you 365 a year. That's a big database, right? And we know that what is it? 2 out of every 12 people in our database. 1 out of
12.
2 out of 12. 2 out of 12, right? So there's 30 deals if you do that, just one person a day in that exchange. That's huge. That's huge. John Murch, I know you you took all the notes, but how are you focusing in? What's the implementation strategy on which one of the 26 points you took down?
I think my thing is, for me, is actually mastering the morning routine. Getting better at that and making sure that, like you said, the best, they've mastered their morning routine. That, and then just when I'm prospecting, just focusing on appointments. We can't do anything without appointments. And I think we said, if we didn't go on an appointment today, seriously, what do we accomplish?
What do we do?
So, keeping that in the forefront of my mind is that, when we're prospecting with a purpose, and that purpose is simply appointments.
Wow. Right. Everyone should write that down. Prospect with a purpose. Right. I think we've all maybe some days lead generated or prospected or did business development, whatever you want to call it, for an hour or two and had a lot of good conversations. Right? Right? A lot of good, oh man, I had great conversations today. Anybody buying a house? No. Anybody want to sit down with me? No. I love that. Prospect with a purpose, right? And I think Jeff talks about this in the, he talks about it as the, if you didn't go on an appointment today, what did you really accomplish, right? And so, does it count as a day of work? Does it count as a win, right? If you win each day with an appointment, that's so huge. Prospect with a purpose and master the morning routine. We love that. So thank you for that. All right, Lindsay, your business is on fire this year. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Really strong start to the year for you. What are you doing to throw some gas on that fire?
So one of honestly my biggest opportunities that I do not do, and I definitely should, is, I always continue the relationship once the, transaction is over. I mean, obviously that's how we all keep going and keep our business going, but I am not good about following up and getting reviews from my clients. And, for me, just about honestly, almost 100% of my business is all, referrals, fear. So I really need to do a better job of following up and getting that review. Cause I mean, if you think about it, anytime someone says, hey, I'm looking for a plumber or whatever it might be, and you suggest something, what's the first thing we do? We go online, we look at reviews, how many stars do they have? So, I've been getting a lot of referrals in the past few months, and I would imagine that when those people are getting my name, the first thing they're doing is probably going to my business page, Googling me, whatever it might be. And they're probably saying, I do not have a ton of reviews out there. They're good, but the ones that I do have out there, it's not a lot of them. So that's something that I would like to definitely do, because I think it's just another way of keeping that relationship going, keeping my business going. And then I love the points that he made. Was a few things that they do is, they might, send a gift card to somebody, does review. But one of the big things that I really like that I do agree would make a big impact is doing what he called a file closeout email. Love that you kind of, I can create a template, send it out to, at the end, towards the end of all my transactions, just so that it automatically goes out, and have them, just remind them to leave me a review to help on my business going forward.
Yeah, I thought that was a really compelling piece of the session, was around that reviews. And I thought when, he framed it as the way you did, Lindsay, which was when somebody gets your name, right, first thing they do is Google it. And so if you Google your own name, is it an accurate reflection of all the work that your body of work in your business. And if it's not, then, you know, there might be referrals coming your way that aren't landing because of that.
Correct.
And so that's the window. And I saw Cindy Sobel asked in the chat, where are we sending the clients for reviews? It was a nice conversation about this. Jeff said, you know, you Google, Facebook, realtor.com, all great things. He drives all of his people to Zillow. And I know that there's the doom and gloom around Zillow. They're a competitor, but the argument is, if that's where the consumer is, right? Then as long as the consumer's there, we'll be there, right? You know, people will, have a lot of different mixed feelings about Amazon, but, you know, it's still the largest platform in the world to sell through, right? So as a vendor, you want to get on Amazon. As a realtor, you know, having a presence from a review standpoint, not buying premium agent status or anything like that, but as a review, that's going to be most effective. But also Google yourself, right? Jeff Longo, realtor, Cindy Sobel, realtor, and then see, you know, what everything that pops up, and then, you know, lean into one. And I think that was his other takeaway, was it not, that you should really invest in one instead of trying to get somebody to write 5 reviews in 5 locations?
Yeah. And I mean, he talked about how, because some people ask, well, if they write it here, how can I promote it here? And I mean, you know, even on your marketing, whatever it might be, just, you know, put it in quotations, you know, put, you know, Mike Rapaski, Cleveland, Ohio, whatever it might be, to be able to still utilize that.
That's great. That's great stuff. And then please, Cindy, thank you so much for dropping that question in the chat. If anyone else has any questions for these outstanding agents about anything that they said, I will ask all of you guys, if you could, as we start to wind down here, to drop your contact information in the chat, just so if somebody wanted to follow up or wanted to chat with you or was looking for help, they could do that. And then just want to give a big thank you to you guys participating. And, you know, the event at Jeff Glover was a good confirmation for a lot of us that we had, that we are moving in the right direction with our calendar. So, you know, summer masterminds in person July 15th, the house parties on June 30th and July 1st. We will be bringing back, a pre-pandemic favorite of the Edgewater Park Cookout at the end of July. We'll have mega camp events in person. And so we are thrilled to be in business with all of you and cannot wait to have a lot of fun and hugs for the people who will accept them when we all get together throughout the rest of the summer and all throughout the fall. But thank you all for joining us this morning. And Danielle just put in the chat box, please sign up for Summer Masterminds. Huge event, big day, a year's worth of training in 3 hours probably. So sign up for that. Take the survey. Make sure you're at the house parties in Rocky River and Pepper Pike on the 1st and the 30th, June 30th in Pepper Pike, July 1st in Rocky River. And thank you all for a great start to another great week. Have an awesome day, and we will see you here next Tuesday to talk about wealth building. Wealth Building Tuesday next week. Thanks, guys.